is going on, legendary humans? Ryan Magic here, and in this video you are going to understand what women actually find sexy in men. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, stay tuned for future videos. Click that subscribe button, but let's get into this. Now, these are interesting qualities that you may not have thought about. You know, there's looks, there's status, blah, blah, blah. These are interesting qualities, and if you understand these and can adopt them, you're going to become irresistible to the woman. And if you are a woman that's watching this, please jump in the comments and give your opinion to what I'm going through right now. For the men that are watching, give them the validation they need for them to look at, because these are all qualities that you can improve upon. These are things that are within your control, which is what excites me the most about these. Because you can change this. I remember in high school, as a little quick side story, I struggled with chicks so badly. I struggled to speak to them. I remember there's this girl that I liked for ages, and I finally had the courage to chat to her, and I was kind of friends with her, and I wanted to have this conversation. I was instantly dismissed, and I was just like, how on earth am I gonna do well in this game? And I laugh about it now, but at that point it was devastating. And I've learned to become a more attractive, high quality man by working on these qualities. You know, I kind of thought looks was what it was about, because that's just, I don't know, I just made that association. These guys are good looking, that's why the girls like them. It's not true. It's a factor, but it's a small factor. These are much more alluring, and you can control them. So let's do this. So the first one is self-worth. And I'm going to explain to you why, but I want to also call it one other thing. Grounded confidence. Grounded confidence. These are synonyms, in my opinion. They're the two ways of describing the same quality. If someone loves themselves, they know who they are, they treat themselves with respect, they honor themselves, they've got this energy behind them. It's not like I need to force or pretend to be someone that I'm not, or put on some look. And this is what I didn't like. If any dudes that are watching this have heard of the idea of being a pickup artist, or there's this book by Neil Strauss, who's actually a phenomenal thought leader, has beautiful ideas, is a bit of a philosopher these days. And he created this book called The Game. And it teaches you go out and do these things to be able to meet women. And they did talk about the idea of just become a better quality person, but it was a very small, it wasn't a very, it wasn't focused on much. And so there'd be these things that you do to get confident. But being confident in who you are is a full acceptance and ownership of who you are. And that is self-worth and grounded confidence. And the reason that women find it attractive is because if someone knows who they are, women feel safe in their presence. Because what happens is if someone's not confident in who they are, the reason is because they feel they need to do things to compensate for their lack of worth, because they feel unsafe. That's what causes people to use compensatory strategies. That's right. When they have coping mechanisms, essentially. It's because they feel unsafe in who they are. And if we go quick deep dive into psychology, when you are raised, your parents tell you and teach you who you need to be to receive love. And as kids, because we're dependent upon our parents for survival, if we're in the wild, we just get destroyed by animals if we weren't actually in the tribe and had the protection of our parents. So we look at them and we go, what they say is what we need to do to be loved. And if we're loved, they'll protect us. So we have to do these things. We have to become this version of us and shape based on the feedback they give us. Oh, don't express yourself around other people. Okay, I'm gonna limit my creativity and expression, because then mom and dad will like me, then I'll stay safe. And I need to stay safe or else I'm gonna die. And so people that are out there trying to put on, prove, be different to who they authentically are using those coping mechanisms since they were a child to show up in the world, to meet what they think they have to be in order to be loved, in order to, at a primitive level, at a biological level, stay safe. It's their coping strategies. When someone has self-worth and grounded confidence, they're being able to supersede that. And that's led them to a point where they're happy being who they are. They're no longer at the mercy of these false belief systems of I need to compensate for my lack of worth. And because if a man is feeling unsafe in who he is because he's compensating and proving and trying hard and stuff like this, it presupposes that they don't even feel safe. And if they don't feel safe in who they are, they can't be there as a full human to make the other woman feel safe in his presence. Because he's worried about what she's going to say, he's reactive, he's ineffective, he's distracted. He's not cool, calm, collected, can handle things that are unsafe out there in public. There's a problem there. And so for a woman to really mount into a man, he needs to be a strong energy. And that's number one. And so how do you, what's the solution here? The solution is work on yourself, grow who you are, learn about your compensating strategies by being a student of personal development. This is a lifelong journey, but you spend a couple of years immersed in personal development, growing yourself, seeing psychologists, psychotherapists, doing workshops, doing breath work, meditation, spiritual, personal development. This is what you're going to start to develop, and it is super sexy. Super sexy. The second point, aspirational. And there's a key word that I want to use here. Aspirational, in other words, mission. Now, there's two components to this. There is you having a mission for who you are. Everyone's got a soul's blueprint, in my opinion. You've got a birth purpose. There's something that's unique about you. There's a way that you show up in the world. Speaking about the compensating strategies from when we're younger, we form a personality based on that, which is unique. You cross your ego or your personality, which is based upon your childhood, with what your heart and your passions are, boom, bring them together, and there's some beautiful blossoming of your uniqueness and how you can use who you are in the world to make a difference. That's your mission. And the cool thing about this is when you've got a mission for yourself, it gives you something to move towards. It makes you generative, which means that you're actually creating in the world. That means you're constantly accruing resources, which creates status and safety. Remember, we're tribal creatures. And so much of what creates attraction in masculine and feminine energy, men and women as well, is primitive desires. And I want you to understand that as tribal creatures, we depend upon the tribe for survival. What can you do to stay safe in the tribe and have the least chance of being ousted? Have the highest status. That is why society cares so much about status. Status gives us access to greater resources. If you're in a tribe and you're at the top of the tribe, you're going to be the first to be fed in times where food is scarce. So there's all these biological primitive factors that cause us to desire certain things, right? But it is very attractive from a woman's perspective for a dude to be mission-led, because then he's going out there and building and creating, and it presupposes safety. It presupposes status, right? But this goes beyond just having a mission. There's two parts. There's either there's you having a mission in the world, but there's you having a mission for the relationship as well, a vision for the relationship, aspirations for the relationships. And the key thing here is you can be mission-led solo, or you can be mission-led but bring your partner on for the ride. So speaking of primitive action, we have this dog that was just barking, my sister's dog, Archibald, aka Archie. So we're just gonna shoot him out. He's a bit of a barrel of a dog. So anyway, have a mission, have aspirations. You don't even have to know how you're gonna do it, but you have to have, and this is where the self-worth feeds into being aspirational. You need to know within yourself that you're worth having a mission. You know, why is Lady Gaga gone and pursued what she has? Why has Conor McGregor decided he's gonna take over the UFC? Self-worth. Having that confidence, that ground of confidence, and knowing that your life is worthwhile, and therefore you're gonna go after what you want. But remember, inclusivity with your partner. You guys are on the journey together. You benefit from the wins together. And that just creates this unity that is unlike anything else. It is beautiful, okay? But again, if we just look at it from a primitive standpoint, someone's mission-driven, going after something big, it presupposes status and safety. That's why it's sexy. Let's go to the third point. All right, let's do this. The ability to make shit happen. Make shit happen. Now, there are two components to this making shit happen. I'm going to go back to my favorite little diagram, which is doing these little infinity loops. So there's two things. One is courage, and one is discipline. Discipline, kind of, you get it. Courage and discipline. So you being productive, you making things happen, because you can have aspiration and a mission and then just never do anything about it. That's not sexy. And it comes back to the same thing. Your ability to actualize. So there's an idea or a quote, and it says, the gap between your intentions and your actions is the size of the dysfunction in that area of your life. So you can be in a relationship and have all the best intentions in the world, but I just want to be so nice and I want to be so caring, but or I want to be present, but then you're always on your phone. The more the discrepancy between your intentions of what you want to do and the actions of what you actually do, that's the size of the dysfunction. So intentions aren't the game. It's a part of it, but they need to be matched with your actions. They need to be matched with your ability to make shit happen. And someone that can make shit happen, a man that can make things happen, this is why you see successful dudes and you're like, oh, how's he with her? Because he makes shit happen. Simple as that. He's got a vision, he's a mission, he's aspirational, and he can make shit happen. It's very sexy. So my question to you is, because discipline, work ethic, productivity, action, like a muscle, it's something that you can build. It's something that you can work at and lean in and learn productivity hacks and strengthen your will to be able to see out you saying something. And these two components, to making shit happen, there's discipline and courage. You can be disciplined and show up every single day in a factory job and never aspire for more. Never try to get into a management position there or do something that's, if that's a line for you, it's nothing, I'm not judging that, but you could, the point I'm trying to make is you could do something that's low value in the world. It's not very mission driven, and you can be consistent and disciplined with it and do it every single day for 20 years. But it also takes courage to take the big leaps. So you need big leap of saying, okay, I'm in this job. Like Richard Branson, he's got a lot of courage to be able to say, hey, I'm going to put up this big blimp with a controversial message on it to say stuff you to the other airlines or doing this stuff. That takes courage, but then it takes hard work to make it happen as well. So making things happen is a combination of being courageous and saying, because for example, when you're running a small business, you can market most small businesses through Facebook ads. Now I could launch 10 different marketing campaigns using Facebook ads, and they could be pretty good. That takes discipline to put the video for every campaign together, to figure out what ad sets that I'm gonna do and do all the behind the scenes admin tech stuff in Facebook, put a landing page together and create a funnel, connect it to your email software and blah, blah, blah. And that takes discipline. Cool. Second interruption done. So I wanted to use this metaphor. Let's say, for example, you're launching Facebook ads and you're promoting to grow a small business. Most small businesses can be grown using Facebook ads. You could do 10 completely new campaigns, whole new initiatives and ideas. That takes a lot of discipline. You'd have to set up the behind the scenes tech stuff of Facebook. You need to figure out your budgeting. You've got to put a landing page together, videos together. You got to write ad copy. It takes a bunch of time. And I've done a lot of these campaigns in my time, I can tell you that. Now, the way that I scaled my business and did $10 million was coincidentally, I always go for a 10 times ROI, and I spent over $1 million in ads. So my budget at sometimes was $80,000 a month, sometimes it was $30,000 a month, but I could have done the same amount of discipline, launched the same 10 campaigns, and I could put 10 grand a day or 10 grand a week, or I could put $50 a week. The discipline's the same in terms of putting the creative together, but the courage is what determines the level of success. So your ability to make shit happen comes down to your courage and your discipline. And I've got as you guys probably know, courage is a big topic in the way that I approach living your best life. It's a very big concept. So anyway, that's make shit happen. Very, very big one. Cool, let's move on. This one's interesting and somewhat controversial, which is emotional vulnerability. Emotional vulnerability. I wish I could have all the masculinity coaches in here to talk about this right now, because this is debatable, or it's just got people have differing opinions on it. See, my opinion is this. My opinion is that if you're able to be courageous in terms of expressing the truth of how you feel, it's high value. It presupposes self-worth, because you don't think that expressing how you feel is going to take away from it. There's a lot of men in society, because of how society shames a lot of men for expressing themselves, there's a lot of shielding, a lot of mask wearing, and a lot of suppression, stuffing it down. And it's pretty obvious. It's like putting on a brave face. It's very tight, constricted. I think being able to share how you really feel and express, see, there's a difference between vulnerability, because you can say what's going on for you, or you can express what's going on for you. I could say, yeah, I'm just not feeling very well today. Or I could even get to the point where I'm tearing up. The emotional vulnerability presupposes you feel comfortable sharing the truth of how you feel in that moment. Now, there's a caveat to this, and that is that you can hold yourself in it. So, Eminem, lose yourself. 8 Mile, lose yourself. We don't want to lose ourselves here. No, Eminem, not now. We want to make sure that we are holding ourselves while we're doing it. So you're not just like, oh, my whole life's in just all over the place. It's like, no, I'm expressing, and I hold myself with conviction and dignity throughout that expression. I don't shame myself. I feel okay about it. And the more that you can express emotions, the easier it is to hold yourself in it. But it's a beautiful beautiful ability to be sensitive. Now, all of these concepts, I just want to intercept massively right now, right in the middle of it. It's not even a point. It's not even relevant just to this. But this is 9 qualities that women actually find sexy in men. Women, I'm going to say healthy women. Healthy women find sexy. And I'm going to suggest desiring to be with a healthy woman if you're a heterosexual man. And the reason why is because like attracts like. So if you've got a lot of wounds and insecurity, you will attract people with a lot of wounds and insecurities. Now, a healthy, I'm just using health in terms of emotional health here and developmental health, emotional, physical, spiritual, mental, the gamut of the different parts of ourselves. 9 qualities that healthy women actually find sexy. Because if there's a dude that's like not grounded, if you've seen the movie American History X, there's this full hardcore Nazi in there. And he's got this girlfriend in there that just loves it. There's so much toxicity. They're full attracted to themselves because they connect on that level. And there's still masculine and feminine dynamics, but it's unhealthy masculine and feminine. This is healthy. This is if you want to have a really healthy, loving, caring, deeply intimate, fully open, full expressive relationship where you back each other. You can fully express the gamut of life and the emotions and do so in unity. It's an important point because some toxic, unhealthy, wounded women might even shame, and I'm talking about heterosexual dynamics, or just in general, might even shame some men for expressing themselves. Literally. As a coping mechanism of them feeling unsafe in the world. I'm talking about health here, because there are exceptions to these principles when you go into the realm of someone having deeply suppressed, toxic behavioral patterns. Okay? Caveat. So anyway, back to now that we know this, emotional vulnerability with you, I'm assuming you, meaning the dudes that are watching, in a heterosexual dynamic, able to hold yourself in that emotion. That doesn't mean constriction. It just means enough self-worth and enough stability in who you are to allow yourself to process emotion, but not feel like I'm just lost without you. And this is where modern day, not even modern day, just the idea of like romance, this you complete me, I'm incomplete until I meet that person, finding the one, and finally I'm happy. We don't want to be lost without the person in this moment. So lose yourself? Nah, we're not going to lose. Where are you? We're right here. We're here, we're strong, we know who we are, and we accept ourselves for our expression, okay? So that's important. But I also want to add one other important little tidbit here, which is to process in tribe. I'm just going to draw. Woo. That's a tribe. So, as much as being able to express emotional vulnerability is sexy for a woman, because it's not, I'm completely lost, because that wouldn't be sexy. That'd be, I'm completely lost myself, I'm lost without you, I can't even handle life, I'm escaping, I don't know, and I've just fallen and collapsed. This is emotional vulnerability from the standpoint of, I can hold myself in it, and I don't use you as the emotional crutch all the time. I also process my emotions and express emotional vulnerability, not just with your woman, or it's emotional vulnerability with your male friends as well, or just other friends, and being able to express yourself, knowing that you're still amazing. In fact, you're even more amazing with the fact that you can express this. That is sexy, okay? So there's two crucial elements to that. Let's move forward. All right, this is cool, this one. I feel like I'm just going to make a little commentary. We've gone 5 points out of 9, and I've used most of the page, so it's going to get a bit squishy down here. Self-awareness. Book recommendation. King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. Talks about the masculine archetypal energies and how to live them in your fullest. And if you want a summary of that book that's palatable, because it's a very complex, diverse book, I'll link that video to you in the comments, because I've done an epic summary of those masculine archetypes. But this is the magician energy. There's self-awareness and just pure awareness as well. Now, to illustrate this point more clearly, I want to mention what the opposite qualities are to this, so you can understand, okay, this is sexy, but this is not sexy. So versus reactivity and confusion. See, when someone is aware, I want you to think of it as a grounded tribal leader. Think of the tribal leaders. If you haven't done too much cultural research about understanding the ways and the healthy functioning of tribal cultures and spirituality and stuff like this, just think of like an American Indian and the way that he navigates through the wilderness and knows the elements so well. And there's a sense of peace there. Let's just use that as a stereotype and an example. There's a slowness, a groundedness, a peacefulness. And what it presupposes is a knowing quality. When you're self-aware and you have a sense of knowing, you're not often confused. See, when there's a dude that doesn't know who he is, he can't be aspirational because he doesn't even know what his purpose is, doesn't even know who he is. He's confused, constantly shocked and surprised and caught off guard. I lost my job, I don't know what's going on. Now I'm gonna go on the dole, I don't have any money. It's like, there's a groundedness there. There's that self-awareness that like, I know myself and I've got a perceptive awareness to who I am and the ways of the world. So this is knowing yourself. And the opposite of it is being really reactive and very confused, caught off guard, not sure, caving in, just, I don't even know many words to describe this because it's just not in my field because I'm so evolved. No, I'm just staring. But seriously, it's just someone that's life's in a heap, essentially. So self-awareness, knowing who you are, is very sexy. And having self-worth is a precursor to that. Self-worth enables self-awareness. Self-awareness is knowing, okay? Let's go to the next point. We have assertiveness. I love this one. Now, notice I said assertive, not aggressive, okay? And the word that we're gonna use here, and I use this word a lot because it's so underrated and needed. Boundaries, boom. Boundaries, boom. So there's two components to this. Assertiveness is knowing your boundaries. It is knowing that, first and foremost, you are able to hold yourself and know how you deserve to be treated. See, a boundary is when you draw the line and say, boundaries are you teaching people how to treat you. Now, there's a really important component to this. I'm just going to draw a love heart. Is boundaries with love. Boundaries, when people first start using them, can often be used as this is how you need to treat me. And it's like a controlling energy. A boundary, hey, this is how I'm going to be able to function best. And this is what's really important to me and I really appreciate it. And it's delivered with compassion and understanding and a groundedness and love. It's super healthy, super healthy. Because understanding that when you teach someone to treat, let's say for the opposite of boundaries, when someone doesn't use boundaries, the thing that is present is resentment. Resentment. And this is what causes, this is like most unhealthy relationships. This is the story. It's, hey, I don't communicate healthily on how I want you to treat me, and I don't say anything about it, but you still do this thing that I don't want you to do, but haven't told you I don't want you to do. And therefore I'm boiling up. Those things, we know this because then people just explode in arguments and all this resentment that's been building up comes out. It's like, where the hell did that come from? Well, it came from you not having the courage to be assertive. Not assertive in an unloving way, but in a loving way to tell you how, to tell the person how you'd like to be treated. And this can come up right early in the dating. Hey, do you want to stay out for longer? It's like, you need to get to bed. You might stay out for longer then, and then in 3 months when you're in a relationship, want to go to bed, and the person's like, I don't understand, you used to be so fun and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no. It's like, you can start to teach people how you like to be treated and just how you can have the most healthy dynamic with them right off the bat. But you being assertive, one dynamic comes with boundaries so that you don't constantly allow the person to cross the line. And the same thing with them. You want them to set their boundaries because in other words, it's here's how we're going to have the best relationship. And this is a sign of self-worth. This is why this is number one, because if you've got self-worth, you go, I deserve to be treated in a way that allows me to feel the most safe, because if we're ever acting out or in this is because we're feeling unsafe and we've got a coping mechanism, like someone doesn't be rude just because for no reason. Someone's rude as a try to hurt the person to keep themselves safe. So all bad behavior comes from someone not feeling safe in the moment, and boundaries are a way to make you feel safe. It's saying to people, hey, this is how you need to treat me so I feel safe, so I treat you the best that I can. And it's delivered with love. Such a healthy quality. I mean, you think of a dude that's got this, sexy as hell, like just a magnet, just an absolute chick magnet, seriously. That's one. And the second one is not responding to what is known as shit tests. So being assertive also means that you don't cave in when someone's acting inappropriately. And so let's say, for example, because we all do it, when we're in those, it's funny because you don't see it in society, but you know that you do it, your partner does it, and everyone's doing it behind closed doors, which is there's that other side, that sensitive side, that immature side, that side that said, I can't believe you'd say that in the dynamic of the relationship. But people act like babies in relationships behind closed doors because their inner child is coming out and feeling unsafe, and it's these childhood wounds that are causing this bad behavior. So when someone's doing that, I want to just use a little it's going to be tiny, but you guys will get the gist. If there's love up here, and then there's fear down here, I'm just going to write fear because I can't even think of a symbol. Love and fear. Now, if you set a boundary, you're loving yourself because there's self-worth, self-love right up here. If they are then responding negatively to that, and they're here, then they've got the opportunity, if you stay in your boundary, stay assertive. Like if they shit test you and they're down here in fear and you go, oh shit, I'm going to react and respond and drop down to fear, then you've gone from love to fear. And that means that you haven't passed the shit test. You haven't been able to keep your heart open through this conflict, and it makes the woman feel safe because she was feeling unsafe. And then her feeling unsafe makes you feel unsafe, and you're incompetent when you're unsafe. But when she's feeling unsafe and she does these things, you stay in your heart. You're like, no, this is a boundary. I love you, but that's not okay. And you stay open and strong. Then she goes, not a conscious thing, because you do this as well. She goes, even if I'm acting out and I'm in my worst, this person can still keep me safe. Doesn't become all incapacitated and unable and ineffective. No, they can stay safe because they've got enough health and a maturity and self-worth to hold themselves. So when they are doing the shit test from fear, you stay strong here and you give them the opportunity to come up to love by holding the boundary. And that might come a couple of hours after when they're like, look, I'm sorry, I act out. And you're like, it's okay. It's all good. I love you unconditionally. Not fully unconditionally, because you're still going to have boundaries that need to be met, but I'm here. It's all good. Okay? There's no resentment, because you're always, when you're assertive, resentment just goes. It's like, and that's just epic. So assertiveness, big. 7. Fun. Being fun. So this is really important. It's going to be a great distinction for a lot of you guys that are listening, and it'll be interesting for women that are listening. Please be compassionate. If you're listening to this, don't just go away and then go to your partner and be like, well, this is why I don't find you attractive. You should do this, should do this. This is bad. Like, I don't do all these things all the time. Being emotionally vulnerable is very tough. It's a real stretch for me. Like, these are things that take work, and it's an ongoing process, but working at these yourself is going to make you the sexiest mofo of all time. Fun, which essentially means productive. I'm going to explain this. Interesting idea here. Fun means productive. Essentially, fun means that you prioritize fulfillment, not just success. You're not attached to work. And so to be able to have fun, it means you need to be able to switch on and switch off from work. And to be able to do that, you need to get shit done, make shit happen. And that requires productivity. Now, when people struggle with their productivity and they don't have clear boundaries for their time, it impacts their ability to switch off and have fun. So if you want to be an attractive person and you're not in a relationship yet, and you want to be sexier to attract an amazing woman, you need to practice your productivity, and not just practice your productivity so you get more done. Practice your productivity and have the ability to switch off after hours. So let's say, for example, you going, cool, today I want to get this, and this done. See if you can get it done, and like make it a priority to get it done by 6 o'clock, and then have time for you and your friends. Then have time for you just by yourself, because that time for you and your friends and you by yourself is space that your future partner can move into. But if you're like struggling to do this while you're single, you're not going to do it while you're in a relationship. You're going to be less sexy, and you might not keep an amazing woman. If you really do attract an amazing woman and you're not creating the opportunity to have fun together and enjoy life because you're so stressed and wound up and because you're unproductive in the day, that's a very non-attractive quality, okay? And that works directly into this next point of what's super sexy, which is presence. It's Christmas, again. It is Christmas. Now, your ability to be present means that 2 things. Not getting distracted all the time with short-term gratification. The best way that you can work on your presence is by removing short-term gratification. Short-term gratification is the thing that you feel a need or an attachment. They're addictions, they're habits. Phone, sugar, porn, all of these things. Coffee, because you're not present if you're going, twitching in the morning, I need my coffee. You're not going to be present there because you're distracted. You're being short-term gratification pulled to something that you have a need for. Same thing with your phone. If you're looking at your phone all the time, you can't be as present. And then the second aspect is not thinking about work. Not thinking about work. And that comes back down to productivity, switch on, switch off. Sounds so nice and simple as I say, just switch on, switch off. Yeah, I've said it, you should do it. Easier said than done, okay? But presence is super attractive because that means, like me right now, I'm filming this video. You're on the other side. Right now, I have a sense of presence with you. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm here with you. And it takes believe it or not, self-worth for me to be able just to be here, look dead into the iris of this camera and just look at you. And if you're present in the space of being there with a woman in her company, again, presupposing heterosexual, it assumes self-worth. It assumes you can make shit happen, switch on, switch off, that you prioritize fun. And it's very sexy, very sexy. Meditation helps massively with this. And if you want some links to some meditation, jump in the comments. I'll link you to some of my videos on meditation. Okay, doke. You ready for the absolute finale? The 9 out of 9th point. Before we go to that, if you found this valuable so far, because this last one is beautiful. It is amazing. Like this video. It'll mean the world to me. Helps the YouTube algorithm. Push it out there. Always appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get it going. Let's hit 9. Stay in touch for future videos. Let's do this together. All right. Honoring. I want you guys right now to guess which one of these are the ones you'd need for this without even me saying anything. You got 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Self-worth. It's the foundation of all of this. Honoring can be described very simply. Making your woman or the person that you're into feel like the most special woman in the world. And the only way that you can do this is by giving authentic honoring. I'm going to put this word here because it's so important. And it also requires presence. Authentic honoring means you give compliments and really see the core of who someone is. See them at their core. You can stand there. You can be present. You can honor them. And you can really see them for who they are with just your energy, right? Honoring then moves into understanding who they are and being able to honor, give to them in the way that they like. You can look up a book called The 5 Love Languages to help support with what other people think love means to them. Might mean something different for you. I like receiving physical touch and gifts. Other people might like you spending quality time with them or doing chores with what's known as acts of service. So understanding that as well is helpful for honoring, but honoring really is your ability to make that person feel like the most special person in the world. Now that's not just from telling them that they're the most special person in the world, because I don't know about you, but if some people, I really take on board what people say for me. Like a lot of people are, how do you deal with hate? I've had thousands of hate comments on all my videos that have got millions of views. Guess what? I take on hate comments and feedback from people that I respect. That's the key. And the same thing happens when it comes to honoring. You can only truly make a woman feel like the most special woman in the world if your words have weight. And your words have weight if you're someone that possesses these other qualities. If you speak when you mean it. So that's where the authentic comes from, when you're present. Because if you're saying things you actually believe and you're telling the truth, you earn respect. And then your words have weight. It's a very important component. But it is like you are really sexy. That's why women love romantic movies. Oh, he's so nice. He's so kind. Yeah, because you can honor. So these are interesting qualities. Let's summarize them. I pretty much could just stop here. Self-worth, grounded confidence, commit yourself to a journey of growth and personal development. Have a mission that includes your partner. Take her on the journey. She can have her own mission as well, absolutely. And hopefully you want to be with a woman that has her own, but have a mission and then be able to make it happen with courage and discipline. Have emotional vulnerability, but be able to, don't lose yourself in it, and also process emotions around other friends. It's helpful if you have the self-worth to share how you feel, express how you feel, not verbally share, but share with your feelings, cry, get angry, punch something in a healthy way, like a boxing bag, and process with other men. Self-awareness, know who you are. Don't be confused and in a heap and reactive and just caught off guard. Like, have that awareness. That can be built through meditation. Assertiveness, knowing your boundaries so you don't being a pleaser and not stating where people are crossing your boundaries so that they respect you and they know how to treat you. That's actually something that's attractive for a woman, okay? And do it with love. Be fun. And in order to do that, and to be present, you need to be productive, these 2 points. And in order to honor, you need to be someone who values themselves. Because if you value yourself, then when you speak to someone else, the words have weight, okay? These 9 qualities will make you a sex bomb as a man. So what I want you to do is I want you to comment the one that you want to work on the most, because all of these are within your control. Making shit happen. You can learn to be more productive and be more disciplined and courageous. You can set a mission. You can give yourself permission to have fun and just prioritize fun in your life and learn to be more productive. You can practice your presence with meditation and your awareness as well with meditation. So what out of all of these qualities, chuck it in the comments. I love seeing your comments, is the one that you're going to work on the most. That's the top priority from you. And if you haven't liked the video yet, please do. It'll push the message out there. If you got value from it, would love for you to help me out. And also subscribe to the channel so we can be a team. I've got your back. Let's do this journey together so you see the videos that are coming out and you're constantly keeping yourself in this field of greatness, in this container of self-improvement, okay? You got this. That's it for this video. Over and out. I'll see you guys in the next one.